So is it actually worth spending money on coaches, on masterminds, on mentors if you're running a small business? This was something I was wondering a lot about 10 years ago. But now that I've spent probably in the range of around 550 to 600K from what I pull together on coaches, mentors, and masterminds since I started my business back in 2011. I think I've got a couple of answers, and I'll give you what I'll do in this video is I'll go through 3 specific coaches, mentors, and masterminds that I paid for, what I got out of those, how that directly affected my business. I'll talk a little bit about like what the kind of, what the things you will not get out of coaching. I'll talk about that. Maybe I'll also talk about how to find a coach, all that kind of stuff. All of this is recorded in one go, so I've kind of written a few notes in my notebook here. So if you see me looking down, I'm just kind of trying to remember what to talk about. But yeah, in this video, if you're curious about the value of hiring coaches and mentors, if you're running a small business or if you're an entrepreneur, I hope by the end of this, you kind of have a feeling for whether you think it makes sense or not. If this is your first time here, my name is Jonathan. This is the Unscheduled CEO channel, and I'm a small business owner. I've been running a company called AJ & Smart for the last 16 years, and that is sort of now a holding company for a couple of small businesses in lots of different areas. And I just remembered something that I'm going to have to share, but whatever. I'm recording this here in my office, and I've got a lot of buttons around me. So please bear with me. It's unedited. It's a one-shot thing. But yeah, so I think the very first, we started in 2011, and very quickly after we got started, my co-founder and I realized we needed help with different things. And both of us were just sort of the people who are readily asking for help from people. And so it didn't take that long, maybe already in the second year, for us to call in a coach or to call in a mentor to help us with specific elements of the business. Because that was so long ago, I'm not going to go through every coach, from the last 16 years. I'm just going to go through coaches that I've worked with within the last 7 to 8 years, because I can actually remember what things they helped, with my business and what things we actually executed. I made a little thing here where you can see the different coaches and their pricing. By the way, I want to say something that's probably kind of important. A lot of these people don't coach anymore. They don't do that job anymore. So if you're reaching out to them asking for coaching, I don't know if they do that. I'm not affiliated with them in terms of I'm not doing some ad. This is not some ad to hire these people. There's no affiliate, whatever. If you reach out to them and say, Jonathan sent me or something, I don't, that's nice, but I'm not asking them to give me I don't care about that. And as you'll see, a lot of these people who I'm going to talk about, they just don't do that as their job anymore. For example, this guy is a filmmaker now. He will not coach you. I would be surprised because he's working on a movie at the moment. This guy actually is a coach. That's his main business. And this is Sam Ovens. If you don't know him, he runs school.com, but he used to have a really well-known mastermind that I was a part of for quite a few years. So let's start with Sam. So Sam Ovens, I joined his mastermind. Can't remember the exact date. I think it was August 2020, approximately August 2020. Back at that time, and I'm going to have to share my screen in a different way here. Whatever, I'll just try to think about how to share this. You know what? No, I think I can hit the pause button. Let me just hit the pause button so I can actually share the other thing I want to talk about. Give me a sec. All right, hopefully this has worked and I'm back and there's something new on the screen. This, for context, again, I know a lot of times this is people's first time seeing a video from me. So back when I started, when I joined Sam's mastermind, my main business was just called AJ & Smart. The studio was the main business. So we were running design sprints and doing sort of agency work for clients, but we were also doing some training with clients as well, like large scale training to teach them how to run their own design sprints. Today, we've separated those businesses out into the studio and facilitator.com. Facilitator.com is sort of where the training business is. But back then, there were the two businesses were merged into one. Myself and Laura, this is this person here who I run this is the person here who I run the businesses with, who is also my fiance. Back then, Laura was running sort of the facilitator.com part, and I was running more the AJ and Smart part, but things were getting confusing. It was getting messy. We'd also branched into doing online versions of our corporate in-person training. And those online versions at the time were starting to make significantly more money than the in-person training. And not only were corporate teams buying the stuff, but individuals were buying the stuff as well. So we were starting to go from B2B to B2C, from B2B sales to B2C sales. And so for about 2 years, we had been moving a lot of the training business into B2C, or just adding a B2C element. And it was going really well. But at a certain point, we sort of hit like a plateau. And around that time when we hit the plateau, I think it was like around August 2020, we had just launched our like biggest program, which is called Workshop or Master. That was doing really well. We were it was at like 150K a month or something, but no, sorry, slightly wrong. We had launched the Design Sprint Masterclass. Most of you guys don't care about the names of the courses, but just for in my own head, we had launched the Design Sprint Masterclass. It was doing very well. It was making, 100 and something per month, but it was plateauing, and the ad prices were starting to get to the point where we weren't making that much profit. And I could see that it was slowly going to fall apart. And the business was also getting really stressful to run. And eventually a friend of mine, another designer called Ran Segal, he contacted me and he said, "Hey, John, do you know about Sam Ovens' Quantum Mastermind?" And I was like, this is Sam Ovens, by the way. I was like, yeah, I've heard about it. It's like really expensive. But yeah, like what should I know? Like, are you in it? He was like, yeah, I'm in it. I'm finding it really helpful. And so I actually asked him, I was like, could I, because there was recordings. His mastermind, the basic concept was that every week this guy Sam, would do a group call with, usually like 15 to 20 people. It was $36,000 per year, and 4 times per year you could go to LA and hang out with him. And he would and other entrepreneurs. That's a mastermind kind of concept. And so I actually asked Ran, I hope it's okay that I'm saying this live. I was like, dude, could I have your logins so I can see what it's like? Because I don't want to spend $36K to just join a mastermind that I'm never going to use or something. And I also hadn't been in a mastermind before that point. I didn't really understand the concept too much, so I didn't get it. So long story short, I watched the most recent 3-day mastermind that Sam had done, which was like a virtual one because it was 2020. And this 3-day video completely like made something click in my brain, where it like unblocked so many of the issues that Laura and I were having running facilitator.com. We both, I watched it, I binge watched it, and then I sat down with Laura and I was like, holy shit, do you know? The first thing was we were like 20 something people, and I think we were making 2.5 million. Sam had a very similar business model. He was only 9 people and they were making 12 million. And so the first thing I said is like, well, somehow some part of our system is not working, because this is like, our system is incredibly complicated. And he basically has one funnel. We have like 10 funnels. We're making tons of content. He's not making any content. There's something going on here. So he had this concept of like focusing everything down to just one funnel, putting all of your energy into it. Everyone on the team works on that one funnel. And you can probably guess, I joined his mastermind. So I chatted with one of his salespeople, joined his mastermind, paid the $36K. And then within a couple of weeks was the next mastermind. So that was the mastermind that Sam was running, one of the quarterly ones. that again was virtual because of COVID. I remember I asked for like we went into that mastermind call. So I went into that call with the question in my mind was, how can I grow the design sprint masterclass? Because it's plateauing at 130, whatever. I can't remember. It's plateauing at 130. Our profit margins are down to 20% or 15%. How can we grow that? And I wanted to present some ideas to him. So this was my first time talking to Sam, and I was also really nervous. And I actually have the video of that. One day, maybe if I'm not lazy, I'll go find it, because my audio was broken. There was a big echo, and I was like, "Hey Sam, hey Sam, hey Sam, hey Sam," and Sam is not like it's not that he's unfriendly. It's just that he doesn't really have any facial expressions when he's talking to you. So that technical mishap happened, and he was just like. And then, there's loads of other people listening. Anyway, so the information that he gave me in the next 20 minutes, the next 20 minutes of information he gave me, which myself and my team then executed on, was the beginning of the hypergrowth stage for my business. And that's what then caused us to separate the facilitation business from the agency business, because the facilitation business fucking exploded. 2 years later, we hit our peak revenue at $6.3 million with a 50-something% profit margin. And we'd been plateaued for like a year before. And so that one call with Sam, the funny thing is I stayed in his mastermind for 2 years. And I think almost never went to any, I almost never used it. And what I noticed is that a lot of people, why am I zoomed in so much? What I noticed is that a lot of people who are doing really well and really successful, in quantum, the ones who are the most successful, the ones who are making the most money, they would turn up like once every 6 months to ask one question, get their answer, and then go, and you wouldn't hear from them for another 6 months. And the people who were struggling, they were like on every single call. I think the difference was that they were just not executing. They were like knowledge gathering. And so for me, I found that Sam Ovens Mastermind, again, he doesn't do this anymore. You literally cannot pay this guy anymore because he's already way past the point of needing to charge money. You can do some chat GPTing on what this man's net worth is at this point. He has zero interest in doing any coaching, but we were lucky. And he actually shut down the mastermind while we were still in it because he wanted to pursue School, which is his software product. So this group mastermind, this is the first mastermind I was in. It was $36K per year. We stayed in for 2 years, whatever, $70,000. Plus, I'm not even talking about how much it costs to fly. Like, this is us with Sam and one of his very lovely team members in his office in LA. Obviously, not even talking about the costs of sending we would also send our sales team to hang out with Sam's sales team. We spent at least $120,000 over the 2 years working with Sam. The return on investment, I wrote down what were the biggest things that we actually got from it. That first call with Sam, we learned about a funnel that we didn't know about. I had learned about it and I knew it exists, but it was called a VSL funnel, a video sales letter funnel. And his Facebook ad system into that funnel, into the call booking system, also the pricing that he suggested that we use for a program, essentially became the template for our Workshop or Master program, which to this day, since 2020, has been our absolute most successful product ever. We've never made something more successful than that. This is the landing page for it. I don't know exactly what you can see, but this is our program. This is our one of our facilitation training programs, but it was in the mold of how Sam was building stuff. It basically took the frame and structure of how he does things, and we plugged our facilitation stuff into it. We also started running our community on his school group, et cetera, et cetera. I know I'm kind of all over the place here, but I'm just trying to give you guys a feeling for it. And so long story short, there's currently like 903 active members. It costs between $5,000 and $7,000 to join this program. The last count that we did, this program had made cumulatively, not per year, over $23 million. And of course, even though we had to execute the work, of course, it's not like Sam did it for us, but being in that mastermind, being surrounded by other people who are doing the same thing, having someone who just been there and done that, being able to give quick answers. And also, I think the other thing is just paying the 35 or 36K made me take it very seriously. And when he would say something, we would just do it. And I think that's one big learning. I actually wrote it here, is like, if you just do what the coaches say and see what happens, that's honestly so much better in my experience than questioning the whole time and then seeing, oh, maybe I'll try this first and I'll try this first. But honestly, just if someone is more successful, like Sam was more successful than myself and my team in the same sort of domain, which in this case was like scalable online courses. So I was like, why would I bother? And there were people in Quantum all the time who were like, well, this wouldn't work for my industry. And I'm like, I'm selling fucking corporate training stuff to B2C people as well. And I'm not questioning it. I'm trying it. Why not just try it? And so, yeah, the biggest things that came out of Sam was we learned how to run a VSL. And a really big thing for me, sorry, I got to drink this. A really big thing for me was like, how the hell am I going to teach people facilitation if there's like 30 people on a coaching call with me? How the hell am I going to do that? And just watching how Sam did it, it used to make me so tired to do sort of large scale training. And then I saw how Sam does it, and the fact that he keeps his energy low and he doesn't try to be a different person. He doesn't try to put on a show. He kind of stays his weird self. And even though it's kind of off-putting in the beginning, over time you get used to it, and it allows him to keep going. It allows him to have that longevity. And so for me and my team, we were watching that and we were like, if we could just be a bit more like the way Sam does it, then a lot of the things that are really difficult for us today would be easier if we could just not put on a big show all the time. And honestly, maybe even now, this video you're watching, I hope some of you guys are watching it, maybe now I wouldn't be able to do this video if I had not learned from Sam that you can just sort of be yourself, and a certain type of person will like that. I'm sure there's people watching this now who are impatient, want me to get to the point, want me to be a bit more like, hey, my name is, and have it all cleanly put together, but that actually isn't me. That's not my personality. And if I try to do that, I'm just trying to pull my chair in. If I try to do that, then I won't be able to do this much longer because I'll just get too tired and I'll get sick of it. And so what I did also learn from Sam was, what did I write here? Showing up as yourself versus performing is a great way to make content, to do kind of large scale coaching, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, that was the first kind of big expensive coach that I personally worked with. And that was in a group setting. So there wasn't one-to-one. I never had one-to-one coaching with Sam. I mean, I've hung out with Sam. And now he's been on this show. He's been on my podcast and stuff like that. But that was group coaching. So, yeah, and it was $36K per year. From a pure return on investment point of view, it's always hard to add it up. But for myself and my team, we would never have stopped being in this like, even though I do believe there's like certain types of, what did I write here? Like there's certain types of coaches for certain types of seasons of the business. That was the season where we needed to grow a online course sort of thing. And Sam was the master at that. Just his sort of mindset, just being around the other people in that mastermind. We had no intention of quitting. We just wanted to stay in. He's the one who shut it down. So yeah, for us, this was a huge return on investment. What I will say is that the people I think who didn't get a lot of value, or, when someone would leave the mastermind, sometimes they would message me, or, that's what happens in a group like this, or when you're at the mastermind and people are talking to each other. And I still know a lot of people who were in it, who didn't find it as useful as I did. And often I would say that these people have more of a challenge of turning sort of, they don't want to just do what the person says. They want to really make sure, they want to try everything else first. And they're also like knowledge gatherers. I think if you're like an action taker, and you're someone who can take information from someone and just run with it with no ego, I think you can do really well in a sort of mastermind environment. But if you're like if you're someone who just likes to gather knowledge and then, I don't know, this mightn't work for me. There's a lot of European people in it. I'm from Europe, and they would say, oh, this wouldn't work in Europe. And while they're saying this, I've built it, and it's just not true, but they don't want to test it out. I would say mastermind format for me, in this particular case, Sam Ovens mastermind, again, which doesn't exist, but just to give you a feeling for the format, extremely valuable. I would give it like a 10 out of, am I rating this stuff now? I'm not going to rate it because I'm obviously only showing you the coaches that I liked to work with as well. I'm not going to be, slating anyone. None of these people know I'm actually doing this video. So, and I probably will forget to tell them, but I'm not going to be like, this person's shit, this other person's shit, whatever. But I've never really worked with a shit coach anyway, because the big thing, and I wrote this here, is that I'm not trying to extract 100% out of them. I'm not trying to get I'm not like the people who had the most trouble in these communities were the people who are trying to extract every cent out of it. So they are turning up to every call. They are turning up to every mastermind. They want to have a question answered on every single call. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to have the, what is it? Is it okay that I can call you? Sorry, I'm getting a message. We have a wasp nest on our balcony, so I'm trying to solve that. If you're, I think in general, if you're like a person who must get every cent out of the thing, and also like, for example, sometimes I would be at the mastermind and they would be talking about stuff I'm not interested in. I would just do something else. I didn't care if they were talking about stuff I was interested in. But sometimes there were people in the mastermind who were like, well, that's not relevant to my business, so I'm not interested, and they would get annoyed about it. But so I think like in general with masterminds, you're still the person who has to do the execution. You can't just like ask the guru or whatever to do everything for you. So you still have to be a person who can just do shit. But if you are someone who benefits from being around people who are ahead of you, and I benefit from that, and that's kind of the biggest thing in a mastermind, then I think this was an amazing experience for me. Still in touch with people I met at the mastermind today, still in touch with Sam. Hopefully he'll be back on this show soon. And yeah, it was a fantastic experience. Also a great excuse to travel back and forth to LA a few times. And the funny thing is I actually ended up running I don't do like a regular mastermind thing, but when I saw Sam doing his, I was like, I could do that, but in my way. And so I started doing like this thing called summer camp, where every so often I would just email my audience and say, I'm going to be doing one of these 3-day hangouts where I'll show you how my business works. And I did it in his style. And the second last one of these I actually did at his office, which was a funny coincidence. The next coach I want to talk about is Bryan Franklin. I don't have any great pictures of any of them because we're always just working on stuff. And I'm always the one taking the pictures, so I'm not in these photos. This is Bryan Franklin, and he is actually an executive coach. Let me just like open up his Franklin coach. Whereas the other guys are kind of not necessarily coaches, as in they're not, I wouldn't say Sam is like the best kind of coach personality-wise. It's just, he tells you what he's doing. Bryan Franklin, it's funny, his website actually looks a lot better now, but you still might find it cheesy. Anyway, when I looked at his website, so what happened is I was at a conference in Nashville. I went to breakfast, and this is actually funny. I just remember this. Someone who is in Sam Ovens' mastermind recognized me at the breakfast after the conference, and we started talking, and I was like, what's like been, a big thing for growing your business? I'm always asking people this kind of question, like what's working for you right now? And he said, honestly, one of the biggest unlocks for me in the last couple of years has been working with this guy, Bryan Franklin. And I was like, can you make me an intro? Blah, blah, blah. It actually took long. I will say, Bryan, I love you, man, but it took so long to arrange the first meeting. He's just busy. He's busy as fuck. So it took a while for me to get on that first call with him. I did the first call and I found it extremely amazing. So for me, the best coaches, I was trying to think like, what are the things that make someone a really good coach in my mind, or someone who I like want to work with long term? And it's actually always people who just say things to me that I can't predict. Like where I'll ask them a question, and I'm always just trying to guess what someone's trying to say. I have ADHD. I'm that type of person. I'm trying to guess the next sentence that they're going to say. And if I actually guess right, I'm very bored. And so when I work with anyone and they're sort of predictable, I mean like a coach, then I have the feeling, well, it's not exciting to me. It's not interesting to me. And with Bryan, same with Sam, before myself or Laura would jump on a call with him, like I would just say, you know what, I'm just going to ask Bryan about, I'm just going to ask Bryan about like this person I've hired. I'm just going to ask him about this. Like, what am I going to do about this? Whatever. And I would also ask Bryan a lot of personal questions. But the big thing with him, I would always think, oh, he's probably going to say that I should do this, this, and this. And then he just reframes the whole thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that's the way I should have been thinking about it. Like this is like the base. I was thinking like the basic thing, and he's talking about like the core thing that actually solves the problem. And often Bryan, or like, great coaches, they give you the courage to do what you also know what you should have done in the first place. And it's just amazing. It's such a gift to be able to work with people like this who are, for me, I also have to have the feeling that they're smarter than me. And I know I should do the self-deprecating thing of everyone's smarter than me. Well, a lot of people are smarter than me, but there are just certain people where I can just tell they have a better processor than me on this specific topic, and I can't predict. I'm just going to do what they say. And so Bryan was one of these people who I felt was quite a bit smarter than me. He had a lot of insight into, like, I mean, the other thing is he coaches people who have much more challenging businesses than me. On his website, he's like, I've helped 12 startups reach 1 billion. I don't doubt this, especially I know I'm not allowed to talk about all the people he's worked with, but a lot of very interesting people. I guess, no, I'm not allowed to say, or I don't know if I am allowed to say, so I'm not going to say it. But he is really one of these people that, how much did we spend on him? Around 60,000 euro per year, so around $80,000. Let me have a look just to double check. By the way, all of these prices, I don't know if they're still accurate because, I'm not currently working on a regular basis with Bryan. We worked with him for 2 years straight, and like I said, at a certain point, you've got everything you need, and you just need to execute. So yeah, we're spending. I actually think this is euro for this one, so I'm going to put this up to around 75 or something, 75K per year. I asked my finance guy, how much did we spend on this person? And we worked with him for 2 years. Bryan did one-on-one sessions with myself and one-on-one sessions with Laura, who's running facilitator.com now. And what did I say are the biggest things I took from him? Oh yeah, the very first call I had with Bryan, I was like, dude, I am so like bored of running this company and I really just don't want to do it anymore. And I think we were 20 something people. The facilitator was going really well. The agency was going fine. And I was just not feeling excited anymore. I didn't know what to do, actually. I didn't know what my job anymore was at AJ and Smart, because we'd hired so many people. Everything was working. It feels like it seems good, but also I was like 33 and I wanted stuff to do. And he gave me this analogy, which is not like, if some of you might have heard it. He was like, you spent all of your 20s like just with your foot down on the gas, burning as much diesel as possible. He said, imagine it's like being on a speedboat and you just put your foot down on the gas. You're using all the like fear, you're trying to get your status up, all of this kind of stuff. And that like fuels the company growth and fuels the excitement. And now you are the CEO of a multi-million euro company and you need to become the sailboat captain. No, he said there's two options. Option one is that I want to keep my foot on the gas and sort of take the Elon approach, which is I take all the money I've made here, put it all into the next thing and kind of have the risk very high and keep the energy very high. Or number two is you become the sailboat captain and you kind of learn to be pushed by the wind and the momentum of the company is already there. And I calm down and accept the fact that I am the CEO of a company that now just sort of works and is mature. And I know again that's something that many of you might have heard before, but I hadn't heard it. And in the moment, and that was on the very first call. And I was like, yeah, fuck. I mean, I think I want to be the sailboat captain, but I don't know, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, he was really good as well at teaching me this kind of concept of nuance. Like I would come to him and I'm like, I have this problem. This thing is bad. This thing is good. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. And he would always help me figure out, okay, there's a lot of, I would say, what do I do? I'm in this process. I don't know. I'm trying to, whatever. I'm in this process and like, there's this option and there's this option. And he would always just help me figure out there's like 10 other options and many of them are much better than I would have ever thought of myself and help me get myself out of my head. He was fantastic at, and every call actually, we never had a topic. He would just say, how's it going? Right. I had a call with him every 2 weeks for around 2 years. And then we had some like one-on-one in-person sessions. The photo here is from us hanging out with him in Austin. Each of those sessions, I don't know, cost $15K or something. They were like full day sessions. And most of the time we would just hang out and just talk about life and talk about things. It was just a very great to have like a very intelligent person to reach out to, and knowing that just every 2 weeks I have that sort of checkpoint. Very hard to find someone like this. Once again, I don't know his rates anymore. I don't know anything about if you want to work with him. I would say like he's for people who are already doing pretty well, like as in you should be already running a business or at least maybe making 500 to $1 million a year. But he really fantastic. As in I only know that element of working with him. And so he was very good. He was just very good at picking up on the subtle things I was telling him, helped me just integrate all the different aspects of myself into the business. Fantastic, just mentor, more than worth it. I actually want to do another, Bryan, I know you're not watching this, but I'm going to reach out to you to do another, like one of those 1 day sessions if you still do it. Because yeah, sometimes like these 1 day sessions were just an example. I can give you an example. We met him in New York for a 1 day session. And Laura and I were presenting him all the different directions that we wanted to take the company. Workshop or Master had been running for 2 years or something. And we were like, what do we do next? And he was looking at the numbers and he was like, what you do next is you've struck oil. Workshop or Master, this course is the oil. All you guys need to do for the next 2 years is build new and more efficient refineries and drills to get that oil out. stop thinking about everything else. And it was just so relaxing. We were like, oh, fuck, okay. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. Because I always have 30, 50 different ideas. But he was always able to like look at our numbers, look at what we were doing, and just say, this is what you guys should focus on. And sometimes just that just gave me, in this case, a direction then for the next 2 years. And it was a good call. It was a very good call. Because we kind of thought that that program was like dead, and it turned out there was still probably like 10 to 15 million euro still left in it, and the $10,000 or $15,000 that we paid to hang out with him for that 1-day workshop, well, you can guess the ROI. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think like what questions people would have for me right now where I'm explaining this, because the thing is, I don't offer one-on-one coaching. I'm not doing this for anybody. So I'm not trying to sell the idea of coaching in general. Why am I making this video? Because, well, I want you guys to subscribe to my channel and listen to my Tuesday podcast. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go to unscheduled.fm, sign up for my newsletter, all that stuff, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to grow this channel. And I just thought this topic would be interesting for business owners. So that's what I'm trying to get out of this. I'm not trying to sell you on. I don't care if you do coaching or not. I could not care less. But some of you might be curious about, or if someone's searching on YouTube and being like, are mentors and masterminds worth it? Well, hopefully you find this video. So final one, I just thought maybe to show 3, just to give like a span. I mean, they're all guys basically, if you want to nitpick and say, well, it's all whatever. So the final and most recent person we worked with was, and this is actually a good photo because this is a very significant drawing here. I think this photo was taken at about 2 a.m. San Diego. The restaurant was closed. It had been like an 18-hour day of hanging around with Blake LaGrange. He's a filmmaker now. So I mentioned this earlier. I don't think he offers anything like this. And that was even kind of a special arrangement we had with him to help us with our business. He became like an advisor. His cost was $100,000 up front. And then any extra profit we made on top, like any growth we had in the business, he was taking a share of that as well. That deal was so crazy that we were, and by the way, most of the 100K was just these 2 days hanging out with him in San Diego. And the funny thing is, like, I'll tell you straight away, one thing that came from this was Laura and I came back to Berlin, and I was like, we could charge 100K to hang out with us for 2 days, because we can teach people about the things we do here after running this company for so long. And we created this, let me see if I can find it. We created, when literally there's so much stuff happened when we came back from this thing with Blake. One of the things we did is we created an entire new business called AJ and Smart Partners. This entire business just came out of work or of us seeing how Blake did what he did. And we created this thing called the 2-day growth jam, based exactly on what he did with us. And it's spent 2 full days, maybe nights if needed, with Jonathan and Laura at the AJ and Smart office in Berlin. We jumped straight into tackling your biggest growth blockers. 100,000 euro. So this was us just like, and that's a big part of it sometimes, is seeing if you spend money on, and I've said this before, if you spend money on services for yourself, often it like unlocks the ability for you to say, wait, I could do this too. Like, this is something that I'm also able to do for other people. And so this was us. And we ended up within the first like 12 months of that business, I think we sold 4 of those growth jams, which then turned into big collaborations that you might have seen us doing with some other companies like PipDex and We and Me. So these actually turned into really cool projects and really cool deals and really cool like business ventures. And it all just came from us going and paying this guy to coach us for 2 days. And also the way he sold to us this thing, like we basically had a call with him. We made a Google Doc. He made a Google Doc. He was like, so yeah, like what about 100K? Like, and he was just putting it all together in a Google Doc. And I was like, man, this is so janky for such a big deal. But then I was like, well, if he can do it, then we can do it. And oh, there's someone at the door, Ellie. Someone's at the ringing the office doorbell. Who's that? So yeah, basically it kind of unlocked this cheekiness where I was like, we could do that too. And so one of the first things we closed one of these 100K deals just on the call and over text message. And the person on the other side of the phone, we usually would have sent a proposal, all of this stuff, but we were like we were embodying what we learned from Blake. The Blake thing though, I'm kind of sad that you guys won't ever get to work with him because he's a filmmaker now, but that was probably some of the most profound like coaching work I've ever done. I'll tell you, this is a bit too personal, but luckily this far in a video, almost no one will be watching anyway. I had like a pretty huge panic attack the day after the 2 days with Blake because it was just so intense. And yeah, who was it? Amazon package? For me? For you? For us. Is it for the podcast?
It's a long cable.
Oh, it's a long cable. All right. A long cable has arrived. Yeah, but it was a very intense 2 days. And his whole thing that he was amazing at, and I think some of the best coaches are really good at this, is they are able to see what you really want to do, but that you also won't even allow yourself to do. And he kind of, over the 2 days, he was like, Jonathan, like, do you really, you're not really the type of person. Because, I should tell you, we paid him the 100K to help us get facilitator.com to $10 million revenue per year. So keep this in mind. We paid him 100K with the goal of getting us to 10 million. What the project was like, the journey to 10 million, we wanted to get there over 18 months. We were at that time, right? Like 6-ish million, 6.3. And so we wanted to add another 4 million. So we spent the 2 days with him. And at the end of the first day, he was like, Jonathan, you just don't seem like the type of person who would be the right fit for having even a 6-point-something million euro company. He was like, you seem like more like a kind of like an artist. And he was like, the only times you're excited are when you're talking about your music and art projects. And every other time when you're talking to me about growing Facilitator and AJ and Smart, you're kind of like very uninterested. He even said like, because I was kind of knew him, and we had chatted on and off for the previous year. And he was like, yeah, he was like, every time I talk to you, you're kind of like very robotic. He would say, I'm very German. I live in Germany. I'm Irish. He was like, you're very German. But then occasionally you'll come out of your shell and be really excited and really passionate and really funny and really playful. And he kept digging and digging on that till I said, yeah, actually this, I mean, I really, almost really no one's listening to this part, but if you understand, if anything I'm saying in this next bit is interesting to you, let me know in the comments. I'm just curious if any of you guys, if this connects with any of you guys. So he said, so he was like, yeah, you become more playful, you're more like light, you're more happy. And when you talk about facilitator.com and getting that to 10 million, you're like, you just close up and you're just German. You're German mode. And so I was like, and I'm there with Laura, girlfriend at the time, fiance, also running the business with me. And she was like, yeah, Jonathan, that is true. Like Jonathan is actually very silly, playful, like irreverent, all of these things. But when it comes to running AJ and Smart and facilitator.com, very serious, very frustrated, and very kind of like cold and what's the word? Like, I don't know, cold and detached. And we talked about that. That became a lot. And he was saying to me, the reason you fucking hate running, because I was like, how do we get to 10 million without just going crazy? And he was like, you're never going to like running this, because you're just not that type of person. You're always going to be fighting against your own personality. And he actually was the one who convinced me to turn AJ and Smart from what it was, which was sort of like, this design agency mixed with sort of the training company, which was still all called AJ and Smart, but like Workshopper was sort of like on the side. And I had bought the domain name facilitator.com, but I was too scared to use it because I didn't really know what to use it for. And he just sat down and like drew essentially this, what you see as the AJ and Smart landing page. But he was like, you know what? The whole entire future of the company rests on you explaining this context of bringing joy and creativity back to your own work, not to other people, back to your own work. And this video, if you ever want to watch it, just go to ajsmart.com and click the announcement on the top. It's 2 years old. I just never took it off because we never changed our website. This video sort of encapsulates us saying, we're not doing this sort of cold business growing machine anymore. We still want to make millions of euro, but we're going to do it in a way that actually is enjoyable. And that was, and the funny thing is, that picture here, this is actually a very significant photo. This is what he was drawing on this. Let me see if I can actually see anything if we zoom in. This is the, I can't. He sat there with myself and Laura, and again, it was like 2 a.m. for fucking hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and just drew out this story of like what the new AJ and Smart is. And then like, I think one of the biggest, so then I got back to Berlin, myself and Ellie, who just walked past here a few times. We recorded that video. I redesigned the website. We decided facilitator.com is the thing, is like the name of that business. We're moving it over there. It's no longer sort of, the goal is no longer to get it to 10 million. We're going to just find a profitable CAM model. And we're going to make other things. We're going to make a lot of other things. And one of the big, crazy businesses that came out of this was, and I don't talk about it too much on this channel, was this business, which is called alreadythere.com. And essentially that's an art retreat that I've been wanting. Basically I designed a digital detox art retreat that I've been wanting to go on myself for like 10 years. And I just never really found the time for it. And also there was no possibility of making this business within the context of AJ and Smart back then, because it was all about, we need to get to 10 million. So there's no product or service or event that we can create that can make less than €1 million. Every product we made had to make at least €1 million by the rules of the company at that moment. But Blake he was just like, you need to stop this nonsense, stop the 10 million journey. It's neither of you guys. It's not you, Laura. It's not you, Jonathan. You're not going to do it. You are going to pursue creative projects. And if you pursue them wholeheartedly, they will make a lot of money. And you don't have to obsessively bang your head against this AJ and Smart facilitator.com thing, getting that to 10 million. That's just going to be a really unpleasant burnout waste of your time. And so I agreed with him. And over the next 2022, 23, 24, 25, 6. When was it? When did this happen? Let me see if I put a date on it. Ellie, do you remember when we recorded that video? Was it this video that's on the AJ and Smart homepage, the future of AJ and Smart, 3 years ago?
2 years ago, maybe?
Approximately. Okay. 2023-ish or 2024. Don't know, whatever. We created that. And then over the next, it's 2026 now, 2-3 years, the business has transformed massively based on just those 2 days with Blake. And I mean, a good example of that is this what you're watching right now, I actually really enjoy doing this. But again, it would never have worked in the previous AJ and Smart. Like, why the hell should I record? This video is almost an hour long. Why the hell would I waste my time doing something like this to get 10 followers or something? It would be a complete waste of my time, complete waste of everybody's time. The expenses were so high at AJ and Smart that it would just have been the stupidest thing ever. But now, if 2 of you watch this and love it and connect with me and this channel, and then listen to more of the show, and then in 2 years from now come to an art retreat or a business, whatever thing that I do, then that's worth it already. That's amazing. That's perfect. And so this working with Blake was absolute. Oh yeah, I should say I did an episode with him of the show as well. So if you ever want to see what he is like, because he kind of coached me a bit on the show as well, and we talked about this 2 days that I spent with him. If you just search, I think it's called A Personal Talk with My Mentor. If you just go to the channel that you're watching this on, just go to the channel, and it's somewhere on here, and you'll see here it is. It's called Listen to a Very, I'll bring it up on screen. I'm going to be too lazy to link it. So just please, this is it. All right. And then we're hitting it here. Everybody welcome to the So there it is. This is a video with my mentor, Blake, which I recorded 7 months ago. And he's a very fascinating guy, and I'm very lucky to have gotten to have that mentorship. So yeah, for me, I guess like I thought this was going to be like a 15-minute snappy YouTube video. It isn't. For me, this is mentors and masterminds, coaches, whatever you want to call it. This is 3 people out of probably 25 I've worked with. I chose these 3 because they were the most impactful recent mentors I've worked with. Not that I haven't worked with a lot of other fantastic people who are also great. You're all great. But I didn't even tell you another thing. Blake, sorry, there's an important element missing here. Blake also said, "Okay, Jonathan, you're probably not you're not going to want to be doing like facilitation. You want to do it sometimes, but you don't want to be the main facilitator of your company, and like you don't want to keep hiring more and more facilitators. You need to turn your community into the people who now do this on behalf of AJ and Smart." And he came up as well with this concept, which I eventually called guides, which is essentially our, if you go to, it's our way of allowing our community to, here we go, hire a facilitator. So you can like hire now people who go through our programs, which means that, you know, when clients reach out to us, and in many cases, we don't have time to do the work, or the budget is not right, or whatever it is, we now have people in our community who can do that. And that was actually something Blake wanted us to pursue. In fact, I think it was just his idea. He just said, "Jonathan, you need to get out of being the face of it so you can do your creative businesses like already there, like unscheduled, still be running facilitator, but not really fully. And it's your customers are going to become the face of the business. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to do it. And so that actually became its own business in itself, is that our top, the people in our community who are sort of like the top of the top facilitators now pay us a yearly licensing fee to use our facilitation material, to be trained by us, to come hang with us in person. So that's a whole other business that originated. So many things came from that one thing. It's actually crazy. So yeah, that is it, I guess. I mean, is it worth working with mentors and coaches? I mean, obviously, I think yes. You have to be coachable. You have to be the right type of person to do it. I mean, I meet a lot of people who would just not be coachable at all, and I would never wish them upon these people who I've loved to work with. Everyone's format is really different. I'm just looking at the things I forgot to talk about. Everyone's format is really different. You know, everyone, like Blake's format is just hanging out on the beach with him. Bryan's format is more kind of formal. You do a 1.5 hour call every 1.5 weeks. Sam's format was sort of like a group coaching format. And again, coaches for different seasons. Sam would not have been the right coach when I was working with Blake because I was already sort of done growing the business. Blake would not have been the right coach when I was working with Sam because Blake is not the person I want to talk to when I want to like explode the business into hyper growth, et cetera, et cetera. There's no silver bullet. Probably no coach is going to save you if your business is just like non-existent. Especially no one's going to be able to help you go from 0 to 1. I don't know. I haven't had experience of that, but I can't imagine. I mean, I've seen in the masterminds and stuff when people are struggling to even get started, they often don't make any. Often these things are not that useful. And yeah, the more you spend on things like this, also the more you open, especially if you're a consultant or an agency, the more you feel pretty comfortable charging clients. Like we paid $100K, then we started charging $100K. Kind of unlocks these levels for you. Okay, I think that is enough. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far, I hope this was useful to a couple of you. Again, what I would love, why I'm making these videos, I'd love you to, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to actually an email from me when I do. So there's this video every Thursday, most Thursdays. And then every Tuesday is the main sort of podcast, which is the show. That's called The Unscheduled CEO. You can listen to that on any podcast app. You can also watch it here on YouTube. That's a great place to just hang out for an hour and a half every Tuesday if you just want to hang out. Have the feeling of hanging out with entrepreneur friends. It's not like a lot of learning or anything, but I don't think there are so many other things out there where you actually get to just have a hangout. I guess it feels a little bit like this with an active CEO, where I'm not trying to really make clean, crystal, perfect content. I'm just talking, and I'm talking about my experiences. And I'm just trying to grow this because, this is fun for me, and I want to bring together like-minded people, build a community of like-minded people, an audience of like-minded people. And if I have ideas of cool stuff I can sell you, I'll do that by telling you on the show or on the newsletter. That's the whole point of it. As in, that's the business model. Because I think sometimes people are like, why is a CEO creating content? It's like, yeah, because building an audience then leads to me having more options of things I can do. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. I hope some people watch this. See ya.